Welcome back to DS Trucks. In today's video, I want to talk about how we upfit our trucks. Now, for our case, we upfit for plowing snow. So this is going to really be geared toward plowing snow and salting, but I get a lot of questions on this. Where do you put your controller for your spreader? How do you run your wiring? So that's what we're going to talk about today in today's video. So if you follow the channel for a while, then you know when we do our salting, we hang a rubber flap across the back side of the truck. And the reason we do that is to protect the truck from salt. Now, when you look at this, this is new for this year. I actually put some tie downs. These were just on Amazon. They're like latches for, I don't know, they're just like rubber latches. And you can unlatch this like so, and I got one on each side. Unlatch, let it fall down. There's a hump right here in the middle because the hitch is in place, but when the hitch is not there, then you can put your spinner on it. Basically, this is just a mat. This is just a bed mat that you get for your truck. Heavy duty rubber, keeps all the salt from being thrown under the truck, which is not cool. So that's a huge thing that we have on the truck with the flaps. Now we also removed the tailgate, and in doing so, ends up with no camera. So we actually get our camera from Camera Source. You can get the whole camera, or you can just buy the housing. In my case, I wanted to save a little money. I just bought the housing. I took apart the tailgate, put the factory camera in there, and then we still have a reverse camera. Real nice to have when you are backing up a truck that's this big. So pretty cool. You can see everything behind you, and you can see your spread. Like, you can see the salt coming out of the spinner. And with these new big screens, the picture quality is a lot better too. So pretty impressed with the picture quality on the reverse cameras on the 23s. So one of the things I also started to notice is I am going to be adding more ratchet straps. So this little one is on here. I got the big ones too on here. This one might need to get replaced, but the bigger ones are on here. But I might start running like an extra strap on each side. I got the one in here right now because this whole spreader would shift around a little bit, and I'm kind of on the fence a little because I got these ratchet straps with the isolator in it. It's like a rubber isolator. Hard to see because of the lighting right now, but you look in there, there's like a rubber thing that isolates it. And I went off of a bump. Like, I hit a huge bump once with this, and the whole spreader kind of shifted its location. So I don't know if those are good or bad. At the same time, they held on, and I didn't break the tie downs. And these tie downs that hold everything down for as far as the spreader, they're not that strong. So like a little scratch there. But yeah, that's how we handle our salt spreader. So for a big question with the salt spreader is, where do you mount the controller? So for me, on my trucks with the center console, I mount my controller right in here, right there, right to the side of the center console, and that's it. When I turn on my spreader, it fires up a light. With the salt dogs, they give you a hot circuit to turn on lighting. I've been running these for like over 3 years, and they're cheap Oedro China lights. I'm pretty certain they're made in China. I don't know, but they still burning after all these years. These ones are a little bit more money, but they're from Last Fit, and the difference I would say is the paint and stuff, and the corrosion and the look of quality seems to be a bit higher with the more expensive lights compared to the cheap Oedros. When they still burn, but look at the paint that's like all falling off. How much of a difference does it make? I don't know. But in order to get these to illuminate, I have to actually have the truck in reverse with the key on at least. And then they go in reverse because these are just tied into the reverse circuit. So automatically truck goes in reverse, those are shooting straight back, and they're too bright to leave on. So those, in my opinion, need to be on a switch that does it automatically, because if I put that on an upfitter switch and then forget, then I'm gonna be getting pulled over probably. So these ones, I could leave these on because they're on my controller and I could be driving down the road, but I try to point them down. So if you're behind me, they don't get you right in the face. And I've had good luck. Maybe I'm overthinking it, but I've had pretty good luck because those can get left on if the controller's still running. So Salt Dog has been good to me for the most part. They've outlasted the accidents, meaning I'm more concerned that someone's going to back into something with the spreader than I am the spreader not working. And they got like the cheapest spinner, and the spread pattern's not the best, but at the end of the day, it gets the job done. And not a lot of spreaders have the capacity that Bayer Salt Dog has. The motors are a bit cheaper, so easier to replace. This one, I just added a vibrator to this one, so we'll see how that pans out. But it only had one vibrator, and I wasn't thrilled with the way that was working out. So over here we have our Crew Cab F350, smaller Salt Dog, and that one had this thing for years and years, and it still works. Over here you can see our controller for this trucks with no center console. I mount my controller right to the seat, and honestly, I leave it there all year round. And people are like, you can't do that because it's just in the way. And no, it's fine. You can get in here, sit down. It's right by your hand. You turn it on. You work it like this while you're driving. And that's it. You know, not a problem. The one thing is when you get out of the truck, if you're dragging your body out and you're not picking up your body when you get out, you're going to rip that thing off. I've had that happen with certain drivers where they're just ripping. I mean, that's why you see this bolster get ripped off of the truck on some work trucks, because pick up your body. Don't treat my seat like a slide. It's not a slide. So for the snowplow controllers, I've just been hanging these up like this for the longest, right in the grab handle. Okay, so under the hood of the 6.7 right now, this is a Power Stroke F350. This is how I handle my mounting of fuses. This is a 120 amp waterproof breaker from Bayers. You can see that they're running like a 6-gauge wire through to the battery, and I just mount my breakers right onto the battery, and simple as that. I can add an eyelet to the battery. This eyelet was added, and basically just drill a small hole right through the plate if it's no eyelet there. This one I think was already there, so no problems. But this one, just drill it, put a screw in there, put a nut on there, tighten it up. If the eyelet's not present, battery strap, the extra bolt that's protruding through is what is holding. Is what's holding the breaker up on this side, so it's just not floating around. You don't have to drill anything. It's just being held up by the battery strap. Extra fastener or extra. Here's another look at that. It's the same thing. It's being held up by the extra threading. So in order to take the battery off, you got to take this off too. And for this side, this is the snowplow wire harness, the main one. I'm running a 200 amp fuse. A lot of guys don't run the fuse. I don't get it, but I do. And I just custom made this little shorty wire in order to connect to the fuse. So I didn't want wiring everywhere. I just wanted it to look kind of clean. I got the tape, that OEM looking tape. I wrapped that wire up in it so it wouldn't chafe and look bad. But underneath here, you can see Still tight, 200 amp mega fuse, so that I'm protected. So with upfitting your truck, you want to know where your upfitter wires are, or the pass-through wires. That's right here. When you go to this connection right here on the 23s, this is where you find the pass-through wires. A little bit different on the different years as you go back, but I figure I'd show you the 23s. This extra butt connector is the extra wiring that's not being used, but I'm passing into the truck a 12 volt key on wire, and another, I don't know what else is passing in there. Maybe a 12 volt always hot wire, possibly. I can't remember. But in doing so, I wrapped everything in this tape, so you can't really tell what's going on. It looks, honestly, I cannot really tell what the heck's going on no more because it looks so OEM. It looks just like all of the wiring. It looks like all the wiring, but I do know I added this, but it's getting to the point where I can't even tell what I added anymore. So yeah, here's what the ground wire looks like for the plow, and that's the hot wire. But another thing on this truck though is dash camera, and then you can see that it is still filming right now. As you can see, it's on. That wiring just goes up and routes above, comes down and around, and it ends up here. And that's what it came with, so I still got to hide that a little bit better, but that's what we left with right now. Just this wire plugged into this 12 volt port. It's not a huge deal though, but pretty happy with that. That's a PELC camera. It's 4K 3 channel camera, and so far so good with that. But what else is there to really say as far as upfitting? I know on my, what is this? Someone leave a freaking donut in my truck. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I'm gonna have a talk with my guy who left a donut in here, because I give him a hard time about his diet, and he's bringing donuts. So looking at this on this truck, I have my Built Right on the dash with all the phone mounts. I still got to do this to the 350 or the 450, but in our 350 single rear wheel, you can see it. Multiple possibilities for cameras and phones and whatnot with the truck. What's this? I don't know. So much weird stuff ended up in these trucks. Oh, on this truck we have a control box down here. Kind of hard to see though. Let me get a light. Okay, so on this truck, you can see there's a control box right there. And this is kind of cool. It came from STL Lighting. Basically, always hot. Every one of these buttons is fused, and it's a circuit, except for F. F, when you press it, is just momentary 12. So F allows you to change patterns. So any one of these can be a light, and F just applies 12 to the light. So the cool thing is you can change patterns. On this truck we have flashing lights down on the running boards. In doing so, only one burned out, and the front one there is burned out. But when we go inside and we press F on our little box, it's supposed to change the pattern. Let me see if that's working. It looks like it's changing. I don't know. This stuff's been in such a marine environment. Yeah, it's changing. So you press F and you can change what it's doing. Now it's blinking real fast. And let's take a look at the other side. Pretty decent light actually coming off of there, in a spot that you'd never really expect. Let's look at this side here. And yeah, same thing. Throwing some good light. And they're still synced. But this one, these two front ones, really took a beating. And they've been doing some weird stuff. So with the cellular switch, turn it on, and now everything's overrode for steady burn. So the steady burn is working still, and that's real nice at night. I turn these on and just drive the truck, and it throws a light around the truck. And all 4 of those still work. It's just a flash circuit. Because when I first put these on, I didn't have the mud flaps on the truck, and I think they got blasted. So, this is a cool place to put the lights, but it's just kind of harsh on them. And the front ones have been having problems. So this whole thing with the switch, I did use the 2 upfitter switches, but I could use A and B instead of those 2 upfitter switches if I didn't want to use them. But nonetheless, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 available circuits. Momentary for F, and I don't know what the heck I'm gonna put on there, but that thing was only like $40, so not too expensive. Let me get my light up out of here before I forget. But I'm sure there's more that I have on here. I just can't remember all the upfitting that I've done, but there's tons of videos on the channels of different things that I've done with these trucks. But anyway, guys, I'm gonna wrap this up. Comment below. Let me know if you guys think any of this stuff is interesting. My name is Sean. This is DS Trucks. Over and out.